Do you know the Singaporean spirit? It resides at the heart of our home, sharing love in little ways, friendly, familiar faces, a peaceful, embracing identity. With a colorful culture, and a deep sense of belonging. We come together as one. Sharing the Singaporean spirit, we remain united as one people.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Anthony from Bukit Batok East IRCC. The IRCCs serve as an important bridges between religious, ethnic, and community group at the local level. Leaders from various religious, ethnic group, and other community organizations have come together to join the IRCC network to build friendship and trust. We aim to deepen people's awareness and understanding of various faith, belief, and practices through interfaith and inter-ethnic teams activities such as interfaith heritage trail, interfaith dialogue, talks, and various ethnic religious celebrations. Welcome to Bukit Batok East Harmony Buka Puasa Digital Edition. Bukit Batok East Harmony Buka Puasa is a yearly affair that we come together in Ramadan to break fast with our Muslim friends. But this year is different. With COVID-19 and our circuit breaker, we have decided to move the conversation online. We are pleased to have our grassroots advisor, Madam Rahayu Mazam, MP for Jurong GRC, joining us this afternoon. Let us invite her to say a few words. Madam, please.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you, Anthony, for hosting this talk show that we're having today. I'm very, very excited that we are able to at least continue the tradition at Bukit Batok East of having the Harmony Buka Puasa in a different fashion. We've had to celebrate several significant festivities in during this period of circuit breaker, including Easter. Recently, we had Vesak Day. And we've started the Ramadan. So we also had the Tamil New Year, and so all these had happened during the time of the circuit breaker and during COVID-19, and we've had to find ways to continue the spirit of the celebrations. So I'm glad that we have this platform. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the IRCC for taking the initiative and effort to bring everyone together. And hopefully this is something meaningful for the residents of Bukit Batok East, for us to stay in touch, learn more about each other. Traditionally at Bukit Batok East, what we like to do is really to find a way to learn about other religions and use that as a platform to see the commonalities that we have. So the topic is something very interesting. It's about fasting in the different religions. And I would like to just take the opportunity to thank them, Ustazah Noradila, Pastor Mark Chan, and also Ms. Anuradha for spending their precious afternoon on a weekend with us to share their insights and stories. So I'm looking forward to the session. I hope this is one way we're staying together and learning about each other, and we continue to do that regardless of the challenges we have. So my best wishes to all of you, and I look forward to having your questions and listening to what the speakers have to say. So back to you, Anthony.
Thank you, Madam. We are very honored today to have three speakers with us and give us some insights to fasting in their own religion. For Islam, we actually have Ustazah Noor Adila, Assistant Head Religious Engagement from Ar Rada Mosque. And for Christianity, we actually have Pastor Chan. He has been a church pastor from 1989 till he opted for early retirement in December 2017. He's an active church member who is still teaching Bible lesson every Saturday morning through Zoom online. And last but not least, we actually have for Hindu, we have S. Arurada from the Hindu Center. He's also an acclaimed writer who has published a book, a work, a fashion called The Friendless of God, and edited a lecture series titled Avata Vantata of Shiva Sahita. Okay, can we have a wave from all the three speakers? Thank you so much. Okay, can I first invite the first speaker, S. Anuradha, to share with us actually what is fasting observant in your religion? To you, please. Anu.
Namaste. First of all, I must thank the Bukit Batu East IRCC for inviting me to talk about fasting in the Hindu tradition. Today, of course, we are all very familiar with this term called intermittent fasting, and everybody's taken to it because it's good for health. And so fasting is a common term in today's world. But we are looking at fasting from a religious angle. So while secular fasting is about good health and physiology, religious fasting is about also good health, but something more than that, which is accumulation of. So I just want to introduce to you about the concept of merit in Hinduism. That is, Hinduism believes if that human beings have to live as per a universal code of values, universal values, and to live with this, to live in line with these universal values, you have to also uh, accumulate merit, because merit gives you comfortable situations. We all want to live comfortably, and how do we live comfortably? By gaining merit. And the opposite of merit is demerit. So by doing the wrong things, you gain demerit, and demerit leads to uncomfortable situation. So for a Hindu, a life of a Hindu is to collect as much merit and reduce as much demerit. So where does fasting fit in this scheme of merit and demerit? Fasting is a very, very important tool to accumulate merit, because religious fasting comes in the context of God. We Hindus fast in honor of a God. Okay, so we have various deities. We have one God which has different forms, and uh, so fasting, we allow fasting on various occasions. So it means there is fasting on a particular day of the week, for example, Monday or Wednesday or Friday. You can take up any one day and fast for a particular deity. Then we have fasting on particular occasions. For example, certain religious festivals like Navaratri. And in Singapore, we are very familiar, for example, with both Taipusam and Timidi. So during those occasions, it's a longer fasting. That is fasting for 48 days or 45 days. They fast. Now, the question is, what is the nature of this fasting? What kind of fasting do people do? Do people don't eat at all, or do they eat certain kind of food? The key in religious fasting is to give up something that you like, because that's what is important, to give up something that you like. For example, in any fast, it can be if you are a meat eater, you can give up eating meat for that particular day. That's one way. Then another way can be 4 meals a day. Then you can eat just one meal a day. You can give up a couple of meals. If you're a vegetarian, for example, then you will just eat fruits on that particular day. So it is giving something that you like as per your not convenience, but as per your eating tradition. You have to give up something, and that's where the merit is accumulated. So, how does fasting help in the accumulation of merit? It helps because one, you're giving up something, and second, you're undergoing some form of discomfort. The discomfort factor is the one that is giving people the merit. Okay. There's another advantage, spiritual advantage of fasting. There is a spiritual reason why people in the spiritual world fast, and which is called the purity of mind. Because the mind, we as human beings are always going outwards, and that is to fulfill our senses, which is either through food or good, clothes, hearing or something. But food is the most obvious, most is the dearest to all of us. So to control your food, one way in which you are managing your mind, you are telling your mind is telling you go and eat. But what you do, you restrain your mind. So that's the kind of discipline, which is a spiritual discipline. That's also, of course, a secular discipline, but the spiritual world emphasizes a lot on that. So in Hindu tradition, fasting gives two things. One, merit. Straight away, merit gives you comfortable situations in this birth or in next birth. And second, it gives what is called the purity of mind. What is a pure mind? A pure mind is a calm, non-judgmental mind. That's what purity means. Now, one aspect of fasting is to gain merit. There is another aspect of fasting in the Hindu tradition, which is to make amends. That means if I have done some mistake, what for example, in the secular world, what is it? How do we make amends? If we pay a fine, or we go through a jail term, or some other, we have to make amends. But in the religious world, how do you make amends for some wrong that you have committed? It is basically a violation of a certain universal or a particular value. So one of the ways in which you can make amends is by fasting. So, for example, if I have told a lie, which I shouldn't have, then maybe I will fast by not eating a particular meal, or maybe a couple of meals I won't eat. So this is how fasting is used as a penance, as an amend, to make amends. And the Hindu Shastra, which is the scriptures, they have elaborate fasts for this. I want to just share one fast. For example, if you have committed some grave mistakes, then what they do is a particular fast, which you start on the full moon day, and you just eat 15 morsels, there are 15 serving. And each day, the serving decreases until the new moon day when you don't eat anything at all. So on the first full moon day, you eat 15 morsels of servings, say, and on the new moon day, you don't eat anything. And then the new moon day, again you start, and you keep increasing your food intake to 15 servings on the full moon. So you cover a month by first decreasing and then increasing. So this way, you are constantly denying yourself food with the intention of penance. This is to make yourself regret and make amends for any wrongs that you would have committed. So these are the two ways in which Hindus look at fast. One, to build merit, and another to build, to create, make amends, and for penance purposes they do. So the very popular fast among the Hindus is, it is called Ekadashi Vrata. Ekadashi is the 11th day of the lunar month. So the 11th day of the lunar month, people will fast, and this is a fast in reverence of the Lord Vishnu. So that's one particular fast that is observed. Then for people who are worshippers of Shiva, there is a Pradosha fast. That means on the 13th day of the lunar month, people fast. And this is, of course, it is eating one meal a day or eating only fruits, depending. I mean, there's a bit of flexibility there. Depending upon your nature, you can take the flexibility, but you have to give up something. And then for Ganesha, who is the lord of the elephant god, very popular god, and the remover of all obstacles, we have a particular fast on the 4th day of the lunar month. It is called Chaturthi, Shankata Hara Chaturthi. That means if you fast on that day, all obstacles are removed. And for another god who is called Murugan, which is of course Taipusam is associated with him, we fast on the 6th day of the lunar month. This is called Shashti. And for the goddess, the mother goddess, we have fasts on either Fridays or on the new moon day or the full moon day. There are several days on which you can fast for the goddess and get her blessings. And then on special occasions like Timidi, it's a fast for 45 days. For Taipusam also, it's 45 days. For Navaratri, it's 9 days. So there are several fasts that are given to you. The option is, it's your option, depending on which god you pray to, whoever is your favorite god. Because Hinduism has several gods through which the one god we pray through various forms. So depending on one's favorite god, one can choose to fast on a particular day in whichever manner they want. Because if you are, for example, you are a diabetic patient, then you need to structure the fast around your health. Or if you're a young person, you're a pregnant woman or something, then you can accordingly adjust it, and you can start with a light fast, very severe, very strict, and it's all as per the person's condition really and their desire. And the more rigorous the fast, the more merit it accrues to people. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share, that in Hinduism, fasts bring merit, and they are a very, very good tool to make penance, make amends. And the traditional scripture, one of the scriptures says that whoever talks about a fast, shares how a fast has to be done, accrues great merit. So in a way, I'm really thankful for Bukit Batok CC, IRCC, for giving me this opportunity in the holy month of Ramadan to share about fasting. And I wish all of us in some way or the other in our religious belief undertake fast and gain lots of merits. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Right, thank you, Anu, for sharing the Hindu way of fasting. Next, can I just request Pastor Chan to share with us fastings for Christianity, as well as what's the unique thing about the fast?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to share about fasting from a Christian perspective. Let me give you a background of myself very briefly. Can I have my slides on? As you can see, I am a retired church pastor. I'm no longer pastoring a church. I've been a pastor since 1989 till 2017. So I have been doing full-time ministry using liver detox to help people to, it's a form of physical fasting to get rid of toxins and gallstones, fatty liver, and so on. Next slide, please. So when I teach people to fast, I introduce this detox kit for them. It's a DIY detox kit to help people to bring home to detox. So this is the best time when people are having this COVID-19 circuit breaker. A lot of people are fasting and detoxing. Next slide, please. Now, as you know, Christianity is divided into three parts: the Old Testament, the New Testament, and modern Christianity. During the time of the Old Testament, where before Jesus came into the picture, they were looking for the Messiah, and they have this sacrificial system called the sanctuary service. So the Israelites during that time, on the 10th day of the month, it says in the Bible, you shall afflict yourself and shall do no work, either the native or the stranger who sojourns among you. So there is this corporate fasting that has been enforced during the time of the Old Testament, where during that time is a special day. It can fall on any day. It can fall on Monday, it can fall on Sunday to Sunday. So during this time, they are supposed to gather around the sanctuary. As you can see the tents outside. They are supposed to fast. When they fast, they are supposed to search their hearts. It's a communal level fasting. Okay? it is compulsory for spiritual cleansing and repentance. So that when the high priest come out of the sanctuary, after the cleaning of all the sacrificial blood, the sacrifice of the lamb, during this day, they call it the Day of Atonement. When the cleansing is done, then they will put on new clothes and start to begin their Jewish or Israelite New Year. So after the Day of Atonement, after the day of fasting, so this is only 24 hours, which is really enforced. Okay, go to the next slide, please. Then come to the New Testament. During the time of the New Testament, fasting is still practiced, but it's not strictly enforced because there is no more Day of Atonement like they have the sanctuary service. During the time, the Israelites were under the Roman Empire. And when Jesus was born, when he reached the age of 30, he began his public ministry. And the Bible tells us in Matthew 4, verse 1 to 3. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. So the fasting that Jesus, our Lord, begins was a fasting from food, not from water. How do we know? Because the Bible tells us that he was hungry. He was not thirsty. Okay? So his fasting is actually to prepare himself to begin a public ministry, to be empowered by God to do the works that God has called him to do as the Messiah. Next slide. And during the time of Jesus, there are many religious leaders who have rejected his ministry. And Jesus condemned some of the religious leaders for showing off their fasting. And Jesus said, fasting is not like that. He said, if you want to fast, you must help the poor and the sick. You are not supposed to boast about it. And these religious leaders are called the Pharisees. In Luke 18, verse 11 to 20, the Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself. He said, God, I thank you that I am not like other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give tithe of all I possess. So he boasts to God and said, I fasted. So Christianity has this baggage that when Jesus condemned fasting as a form of ostentatious show off, he doesn't like it. Actually, fasting is a private matter, not to be show off, not to be shown off. Next slide. And then he advocated the right way to fast. He said, moreover, when you fast, do not be like the hypocrites, which is like the religious leaders, with a sad countenance. For they disfigure their face, that they may appear to men to be fasting. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you fast, anoint your head, wash your face, so that you do not appear to men to be fasting. So he said fasting is actually a private matter, not to be boasted. But to your Father who is in the secret place, your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. So in other words, when you fast, it is a private matter. Don't go and show off. And it is no longer a private affair. It's no longer communal during the time of the New Testament. Now, next slide. Now, in the modern Christianity, we do not practice communal fasting. In fact, fasting is not compulsory anymore, which I appreciate the Hindu as well as the Muslim. Right now, they really encourage fasting, okay, as a form of merit. How I wish we have this teaching. So right now, fasting is left to the churches, small groups, and individuals to decide whether they want to fast or not. So right now, fasting is no longer a requirement to be a faithful believer. Many Christians do not fast. And some of them indulge in gluttony, which to us is a sin. And some churches advocated church level fasting for a specific purpose. And the purpose is always for prayer. So for us as Christians, if you say you fast and you don't pray, you're not actually fasting, you're actually dieting. Okay? But sometimes we use the word interchangeably. Fasting as a form of diet. But Christianity, the spiritual fast is always comes with prayer. You have to pray when you fast. Because when you fast, blood doesn't go to your digestive system anymore. It goes to your brain, and you're able to concentrate in your prayers to God. Fasting also show forth your sincerity towards God. So what are the purposes of fasting? Like I said, it always accompanies with prayer. Fasting is for you to search your heart. After you receive the good news of Jesus Christ, you realize that you are a sinner. You're supposed to repent of your sin and become a new person. That's one. Second, fasting is for healing of the sick. The person who prays for the sick needs to fast. And the recipient of the prayer also needs to fast. So when we fast, we are able to ask God in a powerful manner to bless the sick. Fasting is also necessary for the casting out of demons. We have some requests from our church members or some of the friends that they had. They are possessed by the demons. So when they are possessed by demons, they need a special kind of prayer. And in the Bible, we are told the only way to cast out demons is by prayer and fasting. And we also fast as Christians when we are in mourning, like somebody passed away. And we need to grieve to show our sincere loss of our loved ones. And one more is fasting is actually for present and future calamity. Christians, I know some churches, they gather together in groups to pray that the COVID-19 pandemic will go away fast. We are also praying for the migrant workers, as well as those who are infected with the disease. So we can pray for this calamity to go away. And for individually, we also fast on our own when we want to ask for a sign from God or make some important decisions. Okay, next slide. And there are different kinds of fast. The regular fast, that means we fast from ordinary food. And then we have partial fast, that means we eat less or we only eat fruits. This is a Bible fast. Then there is liquid fast, where we only drink juice or we only take water. Okay, and then there is a partial fast where or full fast means you fast for 24 hours. Okay, then we have a sexual fast. That means we abstain from sexual intimacy. And we also have this fast called the fast from social media fast. Okay, next slide. So in summary, right now I'm teaching people on spiritual fast as well as physical fast. Now my full-time job is teaching people to fast for detox so that they can be healed of gallstones, fatty liver, and high cholesterol. Next one. Next slide. And I have been teaching people on how to get rid of all these toxins from the body by my DIY detox kit. So far, this is my sharing. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Hi, thank you, Pastor Chan. So we have heard the fasting from the Hindu side as well as Christianity. And of course, every year we have been having this Ramadan, and we know that the Muslims, the Islams do fast. So why don't we now hear from Ustazah to share with us fasting for the Islam? Ustazah, please.
Hi, peace be upon you. My name is Nur Adila and I'm from Aroda Mosque located at Bukit Batok. Okay, so fasting in Islam. Most of us are familiar with different types of fasting, like intermittent fasting, alternate day fasting, or some only drink water during the day and etc. Well, some Muslims do practice that too for health benefits, but the fasting that is considered obligatory and voluntary act as a Muslim is by refraining ourselves from food, drink, smoking, and intimate relations from dawn until dusk. So, for example, uh, the slides can go next. Okay. So, for example, in Singapore, we fast approximately between 5:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., depending on the sunset and sunrise of the day. So, we either follow our prayer time or we listen to the call of prayer in the radio. And in some other countries, they fast for 10 hours or some till 15 hours, also depending on the sunset and sunrise of the day or of the country. So in Islam, we have the voluntary and obligatory fast. The obligatory fast is one is that we know as the month of Ramadan, which is right now, where hundreds of millions of Muslims all around the world are fasting for the whole month. So all Muslims are fasting together, except that start and break our fast on a different timing, depends on the country. So, in Ramadan, all Muslims are to fast except those who are given exceptions, which includes travelers, the pregnant and nursing women, or those who are sick, or women who are having their menses, and etc. They, there's a list of it. Depends on the situation of that person. So, all Muslims are obliged to fast, except those who couldn't afford to do so. So that is actually basically about fasting in Ramadan. But that's just a small part of it. The essence and significance, the true essence and significance of fasting for Muslim in Ramadan, which is always highlighted and reminded among Muslims in this month, is not about what it does to our body, but also to our mind and soul. I think it's the same goes to the Hindus and to the Christians. It is during this month that we focus on our spiritual connection with our God and with the people. So, by fasting, it develops us to be more disciplined and empathetic towards others. Next slide. Yep. So, so when we fast, we empathize with the poor and we feel for those who do not have anything to eat or drink. So when we fast, we feel what they feel, hence the urge to give and share what we have. And it is also to control our desires. So that is why this month we called as the month of giving, as we are encouraged to do so. So as the saying goes, next slide, when you get little, you want more. When you get more, you desire even more. Till when you lose it, you realize little was enough. So uh, this is in line with what we hold on to, which is it reminds us to be more mindful to the needy and remind us to be thankful to what we have, to be more appreciative of what we have. Okay, next slide is the next objective or the ultimate goal of fasting is to instill God consciousness in ourselves. It is the time where we hit the reset button and we realign ourselves to what matter most, which is God. So uh there's this saying, man is best trained through his stomach. So when we feel the hunger and thirst early in the morning, when we feel the pinch of hunger and dry on our lips, we would remind ourselves, oh, we are fasting for the sake of God. We are fasting to follow his commandment. Yeah. So with that, honestly, by this, nowhere else in other time of the year do we remember God that much actually. So to us, fasting is not only beneficial for the body but also nourishing to our soul. So during this month of Ramadan, we don't only refrain ourselves from food and drink. We also hope to get to we hope that God accepts our fast, hope for forgiveness and mercy from God, and we do as much deed as we can, as the reward and merit will be multiple in this whole month. Yeah. So that is Ramadan for Islam.
Thank you very much, Adila. Thanks for sharing all this. I'm very surprised, honestly speaking. I mean, I always know that the Islam fast and so forth. I really, today is really something that I heard of. Christianity as well as the Hindu, they do fasting one way or another. But I heard from some of my friends who mentioned to me, to say that, especially for the Islam, because I before this conversation, actually, I thought that only Islam fast. But for the Muslims, I heard from my friends to say is that if they miss within this period, for example, whatever reason, like maybe if they are sick, then they got no choice but they take medicine and those things, right? So that will consider a break fast, and they have to repay back the fasting for a certain of days that they did not fast. I'm not too sure about how about the other two religions. When you miss the fasting period, do you repay back or something like that?
Yes, we there are a lot of categories. I mean, if you happen to uh miss your fast on the day of Ramadan, you might need to pay the fast on some other day. And if, like for example, if you can't fast because you are sick, then you have to pay this obligatory charity. It's called zakat. So this zakat is a charity where it is obliged for Muslims who couldn't afford to fast, to be given to the poor. So that so it's they just have to pay zakat, and or if they can afford to, they have to pay back the fast that they missed on some other
Zakah
day.
is in Zakah is in monetary form in such way to is a charity to some charity organization.
Yes, it's in a monetary form, and in Singapore we pay it in any mosque, and from that mosque they will give it to MUIS,
Oh,
the Islam organization, and they will
yeah,
give it to the alms of
needies.
zakat beneficiaries.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
so
they
much.
will
How
give it
about
out to the needs.
okay, thank you. How about Anu? Is there anything that you would like to share?
In Hindu tradition, the fasting is voluntary. So if you don't fast, then the so-called loss is just the individual's loss because they are not getting the merit for which comes because of fasting. But there's really no there is no we don't have any I mean there's no compensation for it or there's nothing like that because this is purely voluntary. You want to grow in the spiritual path, you can do it. If there's any other thing in which you want to pray to God, that's also allowed. So fasting is only one of the ways in which we pray to God. So there is really nothing. You fast, it's good for you. If you don't fast, that's fine. That's the way.
Okay, thank you so much. And then I understand that you mentioned that fasting in Hindu is more of accumulating merits. Is there anybody who really fasts throughout the whole year per se? I mean, I'm not too sure how long is your fasting. Like the Muslims, they actually from as long as the sunrise to the sunset, they will fast. But for Hindus, when you say fasting, is it the same time period that you're talking about?
Yeah, it could be like if, for example, if you are fasting on a single day, then it's again it could be you will just fast the whole day perhaps and eat one meal in the evening or eat one meal any moment in the day, or you can just eat a fast of I mean you can just eat only fruits. So it's kept very open ended, depending on what they want. So some people will eat only water, they'll only drink water. Some people will just eat fruit. Some people will abstain from eating meat. They may eat vegetarian food. So it's again left to individuals and individual families. What they have followed as tradition. That's the guiding force. There's no really hard and fast rule because what may be easy for me may not be easy for someone else. So they are given the option to fast and give up what is comfortable to them. So
Thank you so. How about Pastor Chan? How about is there anything that you need to repay back or something like that?
Same. Christianity is advocating private fast and voluntary fast. When you are sick, that's the best time to fast, right? So that your body can recover. In fact, we should not eat uh, like we normally eat when we are sick. It's the best time to pray for recovery.
Okay, nice hearing from you. And is there anyone who want to add to this? Okay, I think I have a question here from the public, from this person called Chin An. Can I know how to help people with special needs? Okay, I'm not too sure what she meant by special needs. Is it fasting that helps special needs? Or I'm not too sure of the questions. Can I
think
assume?
firstly, let me
I don't really
go ahead,
understand
Anthony.
the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
I think, yeah, I was just going to say, firstly, thank you to the speakers for the insightful sharing, because I think it's been very, it's always a good reminder about the how common we are, and also how valuable fasting is. I mean, we speak about it of merits and penance, as well as a cleansing of the spiritual cleansing and repentance. And it's very aligned to what I learned also in the Islamic faith, and I find that very meaningful, because I think behind the scenes earlier I was sharing about how after fasting I'm usually gorging on desserts after I break fast, and it's a reminder to me that fasting is not just about the eating and drinking, but really about the spiritual uh, reflection that we also have to take during this journey. Anyway, I wanted to just thank that. I think Ching An, if you're speaking about helping the special needs, Anthony, what was the question you asked her just now? Whether
No,
it's helping the special needs during.
yeah, correct. Because I don't quite understand her question actually. He says, can I know how people how help so can I know how help people
To
will
help people with special needs. I think
yeah
maybe
to
I'll
get
just
special needs.
share. I'm not sure if that's an information that she needs. Ching An is a lady's name, I'm assuming. um, is it, Anthony?
Yes, I
Anyway,
believe it's
I wanted to just say that if you're talking about generic, if it's generic assistance, in Singapore, largely we have the SG Enable that helps oversee special people with special needs. Um, if there's anything that they need, or their families, their caregivers. But if there are specific people or residents in a community that you think have needs that we can help with, please channel that through my Facebook or through email, and we'll try to see where we can come in and support. If you're talking about people with special needs who I think have certain difficulties, especially during this period and all that in general. Again, same thing. Feel free to channel that query to me, or through the CC. The CC is open now during office hours, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Fridays, I believe, and it is there for people who need any support. So if you know of someone who needs some support, who needs some help, you can either go to the CC, drop me an email, or contact us through one of the social media platforms. And I really want to thank Ching An for taking sort of cognizance of this, because as we look around us, and especially during times like this, right? It's very important that we keep a lookout for one another lah. So I mean, if that, I hope that answers your query. We can channel you accordingly. But yeah, I think someone else also I saw about asking a question, which I think maybe we can post to the speakers about how do we encourage. Peter Wong asked, how do we encourage more doing good to gain more merits, especially during this TB? I think that's a good point. What are some of your thoughts and ideas? Maybe I can also get inspired from your suggestions. Yes, Pastor.
Actually, during this circuit breaker stay home period is the best time to fast. We are fasting from feasting, where we go to restaurants, and when we eat food that is being ordered online, and then we cook our own, we cook simple food. That is a form of fasting. And then when we fast, we should also think about people who are less fortunate than us. So our church has a restaurant. Some of the church members run this restaurant, and we specially pack meals to help the frontline workers and those senior citizens who stay in a one-room flat. They have been doing this regularly, every Friday. So I would think it's good during this period to think of the unfortunate, those people who have less food, have less meals. So it is a form of fasting from our luxury and normal routine.
Okay, I think Anu, you have a questions, right? Maybe you have to bring up the questions.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Madam Adila that besides the Ramadan fast, are there any other fasts prescribed in Islam during some other period?
Yes. Yeah, as I mentioned just now, there's an obligatory fast and voluntary act of fasting. So the obligatory one is in the month of Ramadan, whereas the voluntary one is there's actually a lot of there's a list of days where they can fast. Like for example, every Monday and Thursday, or historical during the historical events, they can also fast on that day. And if they fast on during that certain day or month,
Yeah, thank you.
Madam, maybe I invite you to just see anything you want to add to the speaker's
Oh,
point.
yeah, I think the it's um interesting that we now learn about each other's fasting, and at the essence of it, I find so meaningful because it is about doing good, right? And it's about how we see it, about restraining ourselves and thinking about others who have less. So I find that to be a very meaningful learning. I just wanted to add that I think just to further add on Peter's question about what else we can do. Ramadan typically, even in the past, had always been a month where we kind of double up on the good deeds, right? And give something more to the needy, spend more time on prayers, and really look out for one another. And from what I hear from the other religions as well, it's about doing good. So especially during times like this in circuit breaker, I just like to kind of continue to encourage people to find that opportunity, because I think there are a lot of now, at least for the Muslims, within the Muslim, they have the SG United Buka Puasa. So what they do is that it's a platform where you can donate, so that they can give meals for people to break fast, the needy. So that's that platform. And now there are donations to mosques as well online, and I'm sure that's the same for the other religions as well, so in terms of donations. And I also see within our community at Bukit Batok East, maybe I just share a little bit about some of the good deeds some of the residents have been doing. It's just a nice thing to share with you. So what has happened is that there's been residents who or volunteers lah rather, who's offered to residents the to cover their diapers and milk. So if some residents, because that channel is open now, they seek help, especially for those who have been affected by COVID-19, lost their jobs or income affected and all that. Some of them have young kids, and we've had a very kind volunteers. Maybe I'll just give a shout out to Robin Purr and his group of friends who have been donating monies to buy milk and diapers, for families who are in need. I also have people who have offered. This is from it's under the Wat Tanjong Mosque. They are actually uh, also arranging for donors to give funds to families who are in need as well, small sums of monies. And I think this is really very kind. I have even like smaller gestures of residents who tell me, oh, I've cooked some food and I've left it at my neighbor's door. I've left it for the workers. I've left it to my old elderly neighbor, and it's very warm, heartening to hear these things. And I think we find these opportunities to do this good deed everywhere. Recently, my friend told me he found out about an uncle whose microwave broke down. So he arranged for a microwave to be bought and delivered, you know. So if I think we keep a lookout, there will be opportunities to help one another. And I think now more than ever, it being Ramadan, but also during the circuit breaker, we can try and lessen the pain and the sort of difficulties some people may be having during this period.
Okay, I think now it's quite close to 6 p.m. Okay, maybe I ask the last question before we actually get Madam to give us a closing address. Sorry to say, not to make Adela as well as Madam more hungry. Can I just have a light note? What will you be having for dinner later?
Everyone, Pastor, are you cooking today? Are you fasting today, Pastor?
No. Okay. Today, to me, is for dinner every night. We usually eat light. Okay, we eat early. We eat at 6:30. After 7, we don't eat already. So for us, we practice healthy diet. We should not eat night snack, or we should not eat before we sleep. So this is our practice, like dinner.
Oh, Pastor, you're very, very healthy. I actually, honestly speaking, I 7 o'clock haven't reached home from work, so I really cannot make it.
You need to detox.
And then he works very
Yeah, I stay in Bukit Batu East, but I work in Changi, so
He
the
works in the
traffic time, right? Yeah, okay, maybe I know. I understand you want to say something.
You know, I'm trying to have thosai, you know, the famous Indian.
Whoa! You're making me crave. Now I want to eat thosai.
How about Adela?
Yeah, we're gonna start with our dates as usual and continue with our mi Betawi. I think it's a Java food, so I don't know.
Yeah, Madam yourself.
Oh. Me, okay. My mother lives upstairs, so she always sends food down. She tells me today there'll be tom yum and sweet and sour fish or something. Yeah, and I'll probably just whip up some fried rice for fun, just so that I don't waste the rice that I have in the fridge. But really, yeah, the food has made me my mouth water a bit because it's so close to breakfast time.
Actually, for myself, because I come back late at night. Actually, I wanted to take some like salad diet and all those things every night, but never happened. I mean, it happened once. I think I tried a few days. Then after that, still go back to normal dinner
Is it
kind of.
because you don't like it? You can't sustain because you don't enjoy the salad, or
It's not that I don't like it
it's hard
because
to
my family do cook and keep some for me. So
ah.
when I come back, especially this COVID-19, I must say that I got a chance to come home earlier. So every day they wait for me at 7 o'clock. We have our dinner together. That is also a very good time for us to do bonding as well.
Okay, I want to say something. For me,
Yeah,
I have fasting from meat since 1987. So I'm a full-time vegetarian.
Wow.
So for me,
Wow.
not only fast from vegetarian, for fast from meat, I also eat healthily. I eat brown rice, I eat whole wheat bread, and I eat all the natural food. I don't deep fry my food. I steam, bake, boil, and grill, stir fry. So I eat healthily. Sometimes air fry also.
Thanks for
okay.
the tips. I think very useful.
Yeah. Okay. Once again,
But I can't get the
think-
toasted out of my out of my head, because one of my fondest memories is really during Deepavali. So I've had many occasions where friends, grassroots leaders, invite us to the house, and the best they cook right off the stove and serve you. Oh my god, that's like I think that's like one of the best experiences.
Okay, when the COVID-19 is over, we can gather together and have that.
It's one of the first few things you do.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay,
So
once
I'll
again,
close off, I guess, wrap
once
up.
again, before that, I think I really need to thank the three speakers, Ms. Arun, Pastor Chan, and Ms. Adila. for your valuable sharing. And we really thank you so much, because really I personally gained a lot for understanding the kind of fasting from different religions. So now maybe, Madam, you like to close it?
I'd like to echo Anthony's gratitude to all of the speakers here today for taking their time and sharing their insights from the religious perspective, as well as their personal stories, and also the health benefits of fasting. I think it's something very meaningful. I hope the those who have been tuned in found it useful. And I hear we did have a decent number of people watching, so I hope you found that meaningful. And I really thank you for taking this time. I think it is when we seek to understand each other better that boundaries are broken and bonds are built. And I think regardless of our physical limitations now in holding know about one another and to continue to love regardless of our faiths. I hope that's something we can continue to build in Bukit Batu East. And I thank all of you and also the residents or who are ever tuning in for continuing to keep this spirit alive in your own way. I hope we stay strong, stay united, and stay safe. And hopefully this will pass and we will all have the opportunity to come together physically and maybe eat healthier tosi. Maybe
Yeah, thank you all the speakers as
COVID
well as
version.
Madam.
Thank you
Okay,
very
I also like to
much.
thank
But
the I also like to
let me
thank
say to
the
really
viewer.
just thank all of you.
Yeah,
Yes.
so as I said, I like to thank all the viewers who tuned in this evening. Before we close this session, we actually selected a video just for you, titled "Commitment to Safeguard Religious Harmony." Over here, I wish everyone a pleasant evening ahead. Stay home, stay safe, stay united.
And stay connected.
Selamat berbuka to those who are breaking fast. Yes.
Here in Singapore, our faiths, traditions, and cultures are different. Yet we stand together in mutual trust and respect. We cherish what we have in common, but we know each generation must renew the bonds that bind us and do our part for the common good.
It is our commitment to safeguard peace and harmony in our society.
தங்கள் சமயங்களையும் நம்பிக்கைகளையும் கடைபிடிக்க அனைவருக்கும் சுதந்திரமுள்ள ஒரு சமுதாயம்.
Agama kita mungkin berbeza, tetapi kita mempunyai nilai-nilai yang sama.
Through respectful conversations, we can resolve any conflict.
We will reject any form of violence against anyone because of their faith.
We will stand together and support one another in times of crisis.
Through our words and actions, we will uphold religious harmony in Singapore.
Oh,